There is a manuscript, and in that manuscript there are Futhorc runes being used like Roman numerals. They spell out 12 and 30 more. Now, I don't want to give the impression that Futhorc numerals was some kind of widespread system that was used. This is the only time I know of where English runes were used like numerals. And if you look at the rune shapes, they're pretty wonky, so whoever wrote these runes probably wasn't even very familiar with runes. So yeah, I don't want to give the impression that this was some kind of widespread system, but I do want to take this little note and blow it up into a full system because that's fun. So this is what I get when I blow it up into a full system. Only this and this are attested, but I think the rest of these are common sense. If you want more than just common sense to back up these associations I've made, there are various manuscripts which will support it. So for example, in this manuscript, someone uses cipher runes to write out the name Corvi, and you can see here for the letter U, he indicates that he's using the second rune from the first group, and that is Ur. So in this case, even though the letter U is making a V sound, the man is still associating it with the rune Ur rather than the rune Feoch. So this is evidence that the man who wrote out those Futhorc numerals would probably have used the rune Ur to stand for A5. I included this here because apparently at the time in England some people would use the letter N for 0. Not in a number like 1000. They wouldn't write 1000, but I think they would write something like, suppose there's an aqueduct and one day it delivers 5 gallons of water and the next day it delivers no gallons. Well, then they might write it like 5 and 0. I've included two different ways of writing out these numbers because I'm not sure which one was more popular at the time. So for example, to write the number 40, I've written it here by subtracting 10 from 50, but then over here I've reached the number 40 by adding 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. The point of this video wasn't to teach you how to use Roman numerals, but since I'm already talking about them, in case you don't know, only some numbers can be subtracted, and they can only be subtracted from some other numbers. So only 1, 10, and 100 can be used for subtraction, and they can only be used on the following two numbers. So you can only subtract 1 if you're subtracting it from 5 or from 10. You can only subtract 10 if you're subtracting it from 50 or from 100, and you can only subtract 100 if you're subtracting it from 500 or 1000. And from what I understand, Roman numerals only allow you to go up to 3,999 unless you use a bar, in which case you can multiply a number by 1,000. So if you want to write 4,000, you can write the number 4 and then put a bar above it to symbolize a multiplication by 1,000.